Hey there, it's Brittany Chavers, and I'm back today with Jesse James Beads, and we're going to be making some adjustable bracelets. I've been asked to feature adjustable bracelets by many people, and I thought this new line from Jesse James Beads, the Color Classics, would be perfect to do that, especially in time for gifting. So we're going to go through 3 or 4 different types of adjustable bracelets today, and we're going to use these beads and some of the Crystal Cave Color Trends mix. And I've got a variety of stringing methods today. The first bracelet we're going to do is probably the easiest out of the set we're going to do, other than just a regular stretch bracelet. Today I'm going to be using this steel blue, really pretty strand for this style bracelet. I'm also going to be using this hemp cord that's also available at Jesse James Beads. I've used that on a few projects. I have a little bit left over on a regular spool here. I'm just going to cut off a length. Okay. In this really pretty Crystal Cave mix, I'm going to grab this really nice silver focal that has some crystals hanging around in it, and I'm going to string that. This will probably be the most difficult part of this bracelet, and it's not that difficult. So we're just going to try and get that hemp to go directly across from where we put it in. There we go. And then I'm going to string a Shambhala bead on either side because these are super sparkly. Love that. I'm going to put on this crystal rondelle spacer, a crystal from the Color Trends mix, and a little crystal ball from the Color Trends mix. We're just gonna, it's a little wide right there, so I'm just going to snip this at an angle to get that to go in my bead, and put the same beads on the other side. Once I have my beads all on my string or my cord, going to move them to the middle. So they're symmetrical. And then I'm just going to tie a knot on either side of that bling ball, just a small knot to keep the beads in place. Move my beads down and then knot again. Now I don't want to knot it so tightly that it just stays in a straight line. I want it to have some give, but not that we're seeing a ton of cord between each bead. So I'm gonna take this knot, move it down to my beads, and there we go. So we have our beads stationary in the middle of the bracelet. Then I'm going to put both ends of my cord together, and we can kind of see that hemp, since it's a natural material, sometimes isn't the same diameter exactly. If we need to, we can thin that out. But I'm going to put those two together, and I'm going to find a bead that has a smaller hole. So this one has a smaller hole versus like this bead, which is much larger. We want there to be some resistance on this bead to moving around, but not too tight to where it won't move at all. Now the trick will be to getting both of these strands through, which I didn't have an issue there, thankfully. And then I'm just kind of going to figure out how long my need is, but you might want to measure this against a mandrel or your own wrist, or even a measuring tape. So I know that I'm going to need just about this much room to go over my wrist and my hand. Okay. So I am going to at least leave the strings that long. what I'm going to do here is take a little crystal rondelle spacer, slide that on one side, then another one of these cubes, and these are all from that Color Classics strand, and one more spacer. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. This cord is 0.5 millimeter, by the way. All right, and then I am going to, again, measure it to make sure I know how long I need it to be. Here we go. And then I am going to tie a knot at the end of this strand. Pull tight. I don't need to glue this. This is not going to come undone unless I really try to get it to come undone. And tie a knot on the other side. And snip. And we have an adjustable bracelet. So I'm going to put that on. And now that it's on, it's going to be adjustable by holding these and pushing the bead towards my wrist. And I could do that as tight or as loose as I'd like. And then we have a cute little detail where these are hanging down below. Super cute. And you can make a whole stack of these, and you could do them as tight or as loose as you want so they can move around your wrist. So that's our first adjustable bracelet. For our second adjustable bracelet, I am going to use this burgundy Color Classics strand as well as the Crystal Cave strand, or Crystal Cave mix. Again, I am going to take this really pretty Crystal Cave crystal, and that's going to be my focal right in the middle of the bracelet. I'm using 19 strand bead stringing wire from Beadalon. And we're just going to string on a regular beaded bracelet like we normally would, but we're going to make this adjustable. And we're going to do this bracelet, the same bracelet twice, but the way it's adjustable will be different each time. So I've got that really pretty bead in the middle. I want to use these darker reds. We'll use some spacers. We're definitely going to use these Shambhala beads. These crystals on either side. I'm going to use a Beadalon crimp bead. I'm going to grab the toggle bar of a toggle clasp and a jump ring. I'm going to attach the jump ring to the clasp. And then I am going to crimp onto the jump ring by putting on my crimp, then coming through the jump ring, and then back through the crimp. Here we go. And then we'll put that in the largest valley of our crimping pliers and squish. Turn it sideways and squish again. And do it one more time. We'll cut off a length of our wire. And I will just string on my beautiful beads. I moved everything down. I'm going to snip the tail end of this wire. And then I am going to slide on a crimp bead. And I have 3 loop portions of a toggle. So I'm going to grab the first loop and crimp onto that. Come back down through a couple beads, get some tension and pull. And I don't want this to be in a straight line because it won't drape nicely if it is. And then I will go ahead and crimp. And turn that sideways and crimp again and turn it one more time. And you could put a crimp cover on here if you'd like, especially since it's going to be a gift. And then we will cut this wire right here, making sure not to cut the main wire. Now this is how we're going to make it adjustable. I'm going to take 2 jump rings. And I'm going to connect one to the other. And you can do this with just 2, you could do it with 5, whatever makes you happy. And you know, that way you can give a gift and be assured that it will fit the recipient. So then we can hook our little clasp anywhere along those 3. And doesn't that look kind of like reindeer antlers? Perfect for the upcoming winter season. And then if I just want 1 or 2, there we go. Another thing you can offer is if you're doing like a booth and you're selling, you can add these on for your customers as needed, or take them off if you want to fit them to their wrists. You could do the same thing with your family and friends when you give them as a gift. See? Very cute. Our third and final bracelet's going to be very similar to the one we just made, but probably easier. But the way it's adjustable is slightly different. So we're just going to open our strand. And for this one, I'm going to use this big crystal in the middle. Okay, and then I am going to crimp onto a jump ring again that I'm going to put through my clasp, which is just a lobster clasp. Or you can crimp right onto the clasp if you're so inclined. Then I'm going to come through, come back down through my crimp bead. And crimp, making sure that my 2 wires are not crossed. And turn 90 degrees. I'm going to move my beads down the wire, and then I just have a little length of chain. You can also, if you don't have any chain that matches, you can use a length of jump rings, thicker gauge jump rings, just attach them to each other. Or if you don't have jump rings in the right color, you can make your own jump rings using chain or using 18 or 16 gauge wire. Going to come through, making sure while I'm stringing this or while I'm crimping this that it's in a circle shape. so that it's not in a straight line. So there's some nice drape to it. And then we'll crimp. There we go. We'll snip this excess wire. And we have our third adjustable, giftable bracelet. And then if you want to add some extra fancy to it, we'll just take one of these little beads, a ball head pin, and we'll do a wire wrap loop. And you can put this anywhere on the bracelet. But before we start wrapping, we'll want to, and you can always just do a wrap and then attach with a jump ring. You can put it here, but I'll put it at the end. Okay. And then I will just take this end and start wrapping. And you can hold that in place with your pliers if you need to. There we go. A super cute adjustable bracelet. Again, if you're at a booth or gift giving in real time, you can even make this to your customer or your friend's wrist size while you're there after you've already made it by just taking off some of the links. But it's always fun to have something that you can wear a little bit tighter or a little bit looser. So today we made 3 adjustable bracelets in different styles. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Jessie James Beads for having me back, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.